Six of Swords. Six of Wands, rather. Why is this? Because of the Two of Swords. Some of this difficult situation, it looks like it has a payoff. Like, I think it was difficult to make. It was this difficult decision or difficult situation to keep the balance of. But overall, at the end of the day, I kind of get this vibe that it kind of paid off with the Six of Wands there. Like, either you're being recognized for something for the hard decision that you had to make, or it's hard, for the balancing that you had to keep up with. But the Six of Wands is about exposure, it's about recognition, it's about success, victory. It's the victory card. So there's something that definitely paid off with the hard work that you put in, but at the same time, we have the Queen of Swords rather, in the heart of your reading. Necessarily, that's not your energy. That's not energy that really represents Scorpio. Queen of Swords is very defensive. Right? She's good at communication. She's receptive to communication. But she's been through so much man. She's been through so much. And that I can definitely see. With the Two of Swords, you've been through some stuff. And in order for you guys to get to victory, you had to get through five other wands, right? So that was a Five of Wands. That's struggle, that's challenge. It was intense challenges. And of course, right, you're not going to necessarily just be all calm, cool, and collected right after. You're going to be kind of like on guard a little bit. So I kind of get this vibe that you feel like you guys, you're like trying to kind of adjust to the whole everything's okay bit. Because you're not necessarily sure if you can trust your surroundings. It kind of gets the feeling of the Queen of Swords doesn't trust very well. So in the past, you have the Seven of Pentacles. So there's a lot of reevaluating, a lot of figuring things out, trying to see a situation from the standpoint of, all the work that you put in. And you hadn't, and I think there was some small progress, some small development, but not a lot of it, right? Not a huge amount. Not one that made you feel like, okay, cool, I'm getting somewhere. Like, I think it was a lot of time put into it, a lot of patience put into it. And it made you guys kind of feel like whether or not this is something that, whether, you could continue to put in, if this is worth, still something worth pursuing. And at the end of the day, let's see, what were you guys, Seven of Pentacles in? What are you guys considering? Oh, shoot. Death and the Eight of Cups together, that's definitely talking about being emotionally drained and ready to go. Ready to just make some really big changes. Because I think you guys have been putting a lot of work into something, haven't really been getting a lot of, results that you've been wanting. And it's been a long time. And you're like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained. I can't give any more to this. I'm ready for a really huge adjustment. And I think that's what's going on. Or I think this is what happened here in the past. That reevaluating was just ready to kind of pack your things and leave. Or more so than anything, no longer put up with a situation that's been presently going on, that's no longer helping you, and make some really serious changes that will then bring you to where you want to be, or get you to where you want to be. But in your present, you have to Page of Swords. So I think some communication has been going on. Somebody's been very clear about what they need and what they wanted. Whatever this was, that was like, not today, not feeling this with the Seven of Pentacles, you were through. Whatever this is like a through energy. You were through, and you're communicating that, or you're going to communicate that, or you have communicated it already. Great, because the present is like in the recent present, recent past, recent future. Like, whatever you guys have done or do or willing to do or about to do, this is somebody communicating their truth and saying it very clearly. But they're not necessarily, this is their truth right here. Regardless of whatever their truth is, I feel like it's definitely going to raise attention. Let's see, what is this Page of Swords? What is Scorpio going to be communicating with Page of Swords? Some of you guys, it could be that you guys start to gain more information, right? You start to look for things, or maybe start not snooping around and sneaking around, but more of just like gaining more information, right? Doing detective work, gaining data. But even if that's the case, why is Page of Swords coming up in the present like that? Feeling trapped in a situation where nobody's giving anything to the relationship, or just like you're just giving, and you're not it's like you're giving lavish. You give okay. So the Nine of Pentacles could talk about somebody that's in a relationship where they're pampered, they're getting taken care of, and all this stuff, but they're not. The thing that they're missing is quality time, talking, communication, interacting. Just being together as a couple. Somebody may be feeling alone in a relationship, feeling completely isolated, and that's probably where the breaking the silence comes in, because you're like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can no longer handle being in a relationship where I feel even more alone than when I was alone. Like, you may be fine and confident in yourself and all that, but if you're in a relationship with somebody, which the devil can indicate too, and you're in a connection with someone and you're feeling like a single woman or a single man, that sucks. And I know exactly how that feels. And trust me, I would wish that on my worst enemy, because that's a really horrible feeling to have. Or it can be, depending on, if this is something that you like and prefer. But the devil talks about addictions too. Now, this could be that this person may need to be woken up in this little space of comfort here. Somebody may be addicted to being alone, or addicted to, having a serious amount of distance, or being away from people, or not really feeling like they should break out of their comfort zone here. Because the Nine of Pentacles is a very comfortable space to be. It's not a bad place necessarily until someone decides to cling to this, right? It's very similar to the Four of Pentacles, except, this is about not about having enough. It's just about being so secure in the area that you're in that you don't want to see, you don't want to get out of it. It's utopia, and utopias are not necessarily realistic. So it's always I always find this kind of card to be very funny in the sense of it, being about realism, about something real, like Pentacles and stuff, and then next to the devil. When the Nine of Pentacles can also talk about just a utopia where nobody else is around, it's just them by themselves. So the Page of Swords could be that, somebody's tired of being alone in a relationship. Someone's tired of being tied together with somebody but still feeling single. Like, if I'm going to be single, I may as well be single, not be in a relationship with you and single. That's what I kind of get the vibe of. Because whatever this was, you're tired of putting in all the effort. You're tired of putting in all the work. And you're saying something now because this is not... it's not conducive. You're not getting anything out of it. So the Queen of Pentacles, it looks like this is someone that recommits to the relationship, or someone that rocks their independence on their own. It can also indicate too that this person commits to a new, to a strategy, or commits to making a strategy to formulate, better connection, working together. Okay, this is someone, this is the Queen of Pentacles. She commits to work, right? She commits to what she sees of value. And I feel like the Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't put any effort into something that she doesn't value. And I feel like either you reevaluate the relationship and come to some sort of conclusion that this relationship is valuable to you, or something else, right? You're assessing some sort of value here, and you commit to it and put your heart and soul into it. There's nothing that you guys would ever do. The whole thing about passion is obviously having a lot to do with Pentacles. It's very Taurus, right? Something that's yours, is your passion, you will commit to it to the end of time. Think of Gordon Ramsay, how passionate he is about food. He's a Scorpio. He's all about food. Food is Taurus energy, right? That's tangible, that's real, it's physical, it's also Venusian, right? It's pleasurable, it's food, it's delicious, it's something that you can enjoy. And he is all about that food game. Right? So whenever time I think of Scorpio, I think of Gordon Ramsay, his passion for food. Even though he says maybe some mean things to people, that stuff is said because he's so passionate about the cuisine, he's so passionate about the work, he's so passionate about the area of the field of work. So it's never about being mean or anything. It's never about that. It's about the deep passion. And I see the Queen of Pentacles for you guys as something that you guys deeply see great value in. It's only something you see deep and great value in, that you commit yourself to such, to it. You commit yourself to work on it that intensely. So your best bet to follow is strength, being brave, or to the best bet to follow. It's an interesting card to get there, because I don't think you guys are scared. I'm not getting any vibe of scared or fear. I feel like it's the strength is about endurance and having patience, because I don't see any sort of I'm apprehensive and nervous. I mean, the Queen of Swords is defensive, but she'll cut a bitch. You know what I mean? She will cut you up. If you piss her off, she will slice and dice. And I know you all ain't hesitant on stabbing somebody with your stinger. You know what I mean? If someone pisses you off, crosses you, you're ready to go ahead and start poking folks. But I don't think that's the case, because you already are ready for that. I think the strength card you may have to do with a little bit of bravery in the sense of maybe communicating your truth, especially if the situation has kind of been very toxic and not very healthy for anybody. And of course, right, everything's kind of fine, but not fine, right? Everything's fine, you're on your own, nothing's terrible, but there isn't a relationship where it should be. And that is it's not very healthy for you or healthy for the conducive of the relationship, for, based off of the devil card coming up. And I think maybe the bravery there is like having the strength to communicate your truth, right? Having the bravery to communicate your truth. But on top of that, I kind of feel like it's the thing to not necessarily be strong in as far as bravery, but also to have patience. Pace yourself. It's very go the distance with like the wisdom of the oracle. Go the distance. Pace yourself. Something like that. You know what I mean? I'm not getting a lot of fear vibes. I'm getting a lot of, you got this, just keep up the good work, just keep pushing, keep trying, don't give up kind of thing. So with your external energy, you have the Emperor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't get I think the real thing that I'm getting, if I had to see the Page of Swords the way it is, would have to be that this person is really stubborn who you're going to communicate to. This person has their own way of doing things. Is their way the highway? They really willing to they're not really willing to negotiate anything because they have their own path. And if this is already you, though, I feel like you're like, you know what, you're gonna take care of business, you're gonna communicate your truth. But this is somebody that you're dealing with, which is usually what's coming up, like usually what the external energy talks about, something outside of you. The Emperor, somebody that's stubborn, somebody that's kind of controlling. This is probably where the bravery comes in. They're kind of controlling about how you live your life, what you're doing. Somebody may be trying to control what you do and how you do it, what your profession is going to be, how you're going to live your life. And if that's the case, yeah, I can understand why bravery is coming up here, right? This card for strength coming up, because you need strength to deal with somebody that has really, really bad control issues, seriously. And especially if they're controlling you, and you maybe. And I don't ever see you guys afraid of anyone, but if this person makes you uncomfortable, then that's understandable, right? Because you wouldn't be all defensive like this if this person made you comfortable. Like, you were ready to fight somebody because they're so controlling. And I think that's the part where you need bravery, because this person's like not willing to compromise unless you speak up. And that's hard because I think this person made has a very domineering aura. Like, they don't really like to figure out what works for everybody else. They're just like, well, it works for me, and that's it. That's all it needs. That's all that matters, and that's not fair. So your hopes and fears is the Four of Swords. A timeout, a rest, a break. I think that's what you want. Not even a fear. I think it's just like, after all this shit, you just want to rest, man. Like, you want to just chill out. You want to have a vacation. You want to be alright. You don't want to just you don't want to deal with the stressful situation anymore. And even though you're handling it and you're being very, very clear-minded about this, it's still a lot to deal with. So your outcome is Temperance. Patience, going the distance. Very similar message to what I was getting the vibes of with the Strength card. And I feel like with Temperance coming up, it's like some of you guys may be dealing with Sagittarius. Somebody may be dealing with an Aries. Somebody may be dealing with anybody in the whole doggone zodiac. But the point of all this is that managing what you can manage is the most important. Don't worry about what they need or what everyone else around you needs. Moderation in all things is important right now. Not necessarily managing the addiction, because if you have an addiction, this is what the situation is, and it's about coming clean and being open to somebody that's been very supportive in your life. Right? That can be kind of scary too, because you're worried about maybe losing that sort of support or something like that. I don't really know. But I kind of get this vibe that whatever it is that you're going to communicate, it's about something that's not healthy or not, I don't want to say toxic, but it could be toxic in the relationship. Or not, like I said, not healthy. Something that's not benefiting you, doesn't serve you in the relationship. That makes you feel like you're being held back. So something that makes you feel like you don't have any power in the situation, right? That makes you feel powerless, or maybe in regards to codependency, which I don't see any cards of codependency in here, but I really feel like it's something that makes you feel like you're powerless in the situation, or maybe that the other person may be feeling powerless in this, but you got some sort of information about it, and you're not sure if you really want to change, even though you're not trying to be controlling in that regard. Who knows, right? However it swings for you is the gateway you pass, but. Moderation, balancing yourself, balancing the situation is better. And I think somebody is overindulging in one area It's overindulging in like self-isolation, self-care. Like they're not considering it someone else. And I think the reason why they keep buying you stuff and is to sedate you for all the times that you're by yourself, which is not fair because you don't want the gifts. You don't want the material crap. You want to spend time with them. You want to connect with them. You want to be with them. So I think communicating with them, even though they're really stubborn, really helps get things back in order. But it's going to require you to be brave and to come from a place that, yes, you deserve to have what you want. You should deserve to, to be happy and not always lug the wagon around, right? Somebody else has to lug that wagon sometimes. Even if this is something as small as cleaning and cooking, like somebody needs to like be able to contribute sometimes. So let's go ahead and take a look at your messenger oracle. See what you guys got. All right. Do not fear the unknown. Okay. Definitely bravery for this. But do not fear the unknown. If you don't know what the outcome is, it doesn't mean the outcome is going to be terrible. It just means you have to have faith in your situation and in yourself to be able to handle whatever comes up. So when that do not fear on the unknown card is telling you to just be aware that there's nothing that you're given that you cannot handle, that you're not truly 100% equipped for. Everything that you've got thrown at you in your life, you've always been equipped to handle it, always been equipped to heal from it, always been equipped to deal with it. No situation will ever be any different. You're never going to be handed anything that you don't know how to handle. So even though you don't know the outcome of how this communication is going to be, how this talk is going to be, doesn't mean you can't handle it however it goes. So having strength and being brave in the situation is definitely a key. Go the distance is the card that comes up. Oh my gosh. Didn't I just say that that's the card, that's the vibe that I'm getting? That is legitimately the vibe that I was getting with this. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, have patience. The fight is on, right? You're always trying to get to the finish line, but you don't want to go too fast because you're going to burn yourself out. And then you don't want to go too slow because, there's always going slow, but as long as you truly pace yourself and get a good balance, you're on your way. But it takes time and patience and endurance. You have to, it's going to take some time to get it right. And I know there's a connection with you and this individual. The devil's showing that there's something strong. So I'm not saying that you need to divorce or break up with this person at all. There's no cards in here that signify that. But I do feel like there is a break that's needed, and a break or that you maybe hope for the end of some sort of situation where you're by yourself all the time.